Hello and welcome to our first tutorial in how to input content into the new Drupal system for the CI. We're going to start with some very basic parts here. We're going to start with how to log in. If you don't already have a login, how do you create an account? And then we're going to add a simple piece of content. This should be able to get you going with how to input content. There are a lot more subjects to cover, how to put content into Drupal in a very basic way. First thing you want to do is go to the new Drupal site. We're going to change it when it goes live, but until it is live, we have it at www.commonit.com/Drupal5. When you come to the site, you'll notice there'll be a login window on your right-hand side. That'll have username, password, and login. If you haven't logged into the system yet, you'll need to create an account. To create an account, create new account, follow that link. You'll be asked for a username and your email address. There will also be things that are in what we call the Civi CRM, our content management system for contacts inside of Drupal. There you'll be asked to fill out your country and other optional information if you wish. This is very similar to the current Max import screen we have on the current live site. What we are going to do is once you put in your login information and your areas of interest, if you wish to add those, and submit it, an email will go to your personal account, and that will give you more information about how to activate your account. Because this section is open to the world at large, we are not automatically giving users full access privileges. So if you don't have an account, and you want to have an administrative content entry account so you can be able to contribute content to the new CI site, what you have to do is go through, set up your account, you'll get a confirmation email address, and until I come in as the administrator and activate your account and give you additional rights, you will be blocked from any special privilege until that happens. If you try to put in a new account username with an existing email address, say if you are already signed up and you've forgotten your password or you try to sign up again with the same email address, that will not succeed and you'll get an error message. Then you'll be asked to put in a different email address or prompted to be able to retrieve your password and then log in. Below the login link that says create new account. If you've already created an account and you've forgotten what the password is, you can request a new password be generated and sent to your email account. Assuming that you've already logged in and you haven't a created account, what you do is you put in your username and your password, hit login. That will change you from being an anonymous user to an authenticated user. After you've created your first account, I will go in and change your rights and access so that you can be able to administer the site with your username and password. Once you have that privilege, you can then create content. Once you first log in, you will notice that the screen changes slightly. The user login will go, and over on the left-hand side towards the bottom of the left column, there will be a section that has your login name followed by different options. What happens is, you log in, you'll be able to see your login, but you won't have any special privileges. After I get a confirmation request, I will increase your rights so that you can contribute content. Then you will be able to log in, and you will see something similar to what we see on the front page under the login of Create Content. Looking over on the left-hand side, underneath your name in the left-hand banner, there is a Create Content link with a plus sign. Clicking on the plus sign will expand the options below it and allow you to choose a content type or a content template that you wish to use to be able to put in new material. These are patterned after what's currently on the live site under JContent, things like baselines and evaluations, strategic thinking, and other pieces like that. We also have content types that are inside of Drupal, such as blogs and polls, pages, stories, and events. These are inside of Drupal, and they are part of the common set of how Drupal behaves, but they are new to how we do things. For this basic example, we're going to try to simply create a page. A page is very, very simplistic. It's got a title, it's got a body, and it's got taxonomy. Taxonomy is something we'll cover more during our retreat sessions, but what taxonomy is categories. We can categorize how a piece is defined on the site through the different taxonomies, whether it's global versus CELA versus Africa, under knowledge sections, whether it's an experiences piece versus evaluations versus the other types of knowledge sections, We can also say whether or not what the custom codes are or keywords, whether it's a piece for HIV or a piece for polio or a piece for child. Then what happens is that will help to classify the site in a much more free-form way. By moving all these categorizations to the same perspective, we can control how we organize the data. So that way we could say, let's see a piece that is global in evaluations for children, or Africa in evaluations for children, or Africa or global for children for evaluations. We can mix and match the combinations to come up with a relationship between all the pieces of data and all the categorizations that are possible. There are lots of options on an inputting page. They're all there so that you have the option to do whatever you want with them. They're not there to overwhelm you. A lot of them are minimized, so you could just move past them and keep on going and just leave them at their defaults. Some of them are expanded by default, things like title and sections and sites, custom codes, and the actual inputting fields. To input taxonomy, use these open drop-down windows. You would click on the section you want, and then if you want to choose a second one, what you do is you hold down the control button while clicking on other options. Holding down the control button means that you get to choose a second, third, fourth, etc. options, and they all remain on the site. We do have the option to add a checkbox instead of a drop-down box, but because of how many options we have under knowledge sections and how many sections we have under keywords and presentations, they might take up too much space on the page. So this is one of those user interaction refinements that we may have to carry out. You'll notice that there will be large text areas where you can input material, and down below those there will be options that say rich text editing. What you do with those is you can open up the options and choose to edit this in a WYSIWYG editor that's inline on your editing page. So that means you can go from plain text to more advanced formatting if you choose. Down towards the bottom of the page, there's a section called Publishing Options. These are different ways you want to control how the content is displayed. You can choose to make the piece published and active. In other words, published means it's visible to the public. Not published means it's in the system, but it isn't visible. There's also another option, which is Promote to Front Page. This is something built into Drupal, and it's a handy switch to decide whether or not you want something to simply be in the system or given a position of prevalence. What it will do is you will be able to put in a piece and then decide whether or not you want it to be prominent. All of the prominent pieces will be organized on the front page according to date. There is another one which is sticky that says that takes precedence even more so, that anything that's given that stickiness will become very prominent, and it'll always show up first on your page. This is something we see in Bubble, where if we want to have an introductory note that stays on the page, this is the equivalent of that. That you could say, I want this particular piece to always be front and center. Or you could say, I don't really care, we're going to let date and how new the piece is decide. Once you're satisfied with the piece that you want to add, you can choose to preview it so you see how it will look, as well as be able to edit and refine it, or you can simply hit submit and submit the material. Once you submit it, it goes in for processing and all the different pieces of data are categorized, and this can take some time with the current site. It's one of the levels of refinement we're still trying to carry out. Stores it. It will also apply relevant theming. This particular piece, when you save it, I categorized as being a piece that was for global and for edutainment. Edutainment was a sub-site of the Africa site, so it has a theming that looks like the Africa site. So when I saved it, the edutainment theme kicked in over top of the global theme because sub-sites take precedence over just the plain material on the global site. Similar, if you had a piece tagged for global and for CELA, it would look like the CELA theme because CELA takes precedence over global for specific theming and how the site looks.